This is about being able to take your matchbox, pick up all your matches, and light them at once.
And we are back for another episode of Dead Last Cycling. A special episode because it's the first in our new series where we'll be finding out if I'm going to get broken by Cat B.
All right, fellas. First race in Cat B. My legs are feeling a little wooden. I did my first 100-kilometer ride at the weekend, so it might be a bit ambitious to have done that. And I did 100 kilometers on Saturday, like 65 kilometers yesterday, and now the Zwift race might be a bit ambitious, but I wanted to get in on prime time, so here we are. The course is not too horrendous by the looks of it. I couldn't really find any recons on it, but it only really looks like, look, there's some bumps and lumps, but there's nothing for too long of power needed to stay connected. But today, we are back to our roots. Do not finish dead last.
Not finishing dead last. That's always the initial goal when starting a new category. I'd still look to maximise whatever result was possible, but first things first, it'd be about racing smart, and with a route like Sprinter's Playground, that meant sitting in and chilling. Thankfully, this latest Zwift series doesn't have any power-ups to worry about, with the banners just giving XP boosts, so I could laser focus on the back of the peloton.
There's not too many selection points, but I do expect this to string out. So it's gonna be important not to enter the spots where people are gonna push in the back, because as always, if it strings out in front of you, you're in trouble. Especially because of this category. Whereas in Cat C, I was pretty confident that if gaps opened, if I needed to, I could jump across. Not so confident about that in Cat B.
On this first lap, some gaps did open, but for the most part, people were racing it smart.
Pretty chill so far. I think as the higher you get up in the categories, the smarter everyone races it. So when you're in Cat E and D, you have people pushing all the time, like nonsensically. Cat C, it calms down a bit. Seems like in Cat B, at least in this group right now, everyone is racing this pretty smart.
So far, so good. This was a lot slower than I'd been expecting, but with the only potential pain point of the day still to come, there was still time for that to change.
On this next climb here, if this was Cat C, I would ride this full. Try to split the field. So, it'll be interesting to see how people ride it on this first lap. This is 2 laps.
Very key point to focus on there, it's a 2-lap race, remember that. As we hit the only notable ramp of the race, the pace stayed relatively easy, certainly easier than I was expecting. Even though it's a pretty inconsequential climb, all things considered, I had been expecting at least a few people to go hard here to try and hurt the sprinters.
Now don't ease off here because we got a second kick.
The second kick is very short, but if you're in a race that strings out over this little punch, if you're not careful, that second kick could be your undoing, as you might be left chasing back on. For me, nothing too eventful happened, and I turned my focus towards reconning the finish for a big lap 2 sprint.
Oh, the power so far is pretty sustainable. My legs do feel very heavy today, but this is not a sustainable power route. This is about being able to take your matchbox, pick up all your matches, and light them at once. Splinter's Playground by name, Splinter's Playground by nature.
Whilst it is a sprint, it's a pretty complicated run-in through the twisting arcade. Not quite as bad as a wet cobbled 90-degree corner like in the Giro, but still, you need to be careful as you can find yourself slipping back and then having way too much to do in the actual proper sprint. Positioning is everything.
This guy's attacking. It's a big attack.
Fire socks lighting up, someone was going all out. And remember how I said this was a 2-lap race? Our old Cat City rival Gledison had also been promoted to Cat B, but he'd missed that it was a 2-lapper, something I was obviously devastated about. Perhaps this week I'd actually have a chance against him. Apart from Gledison's misfire, things were still pretty chill, although to be honest, my legs didn't feel amazing. Not that they ever do, but still.
So first 21 minutes, only 209 watts. Feels harder than that, but that's probably all the miles in the legs from the last week. Had the biggest week on the bike of my life, which is not very big by most people's standards, but yeah, I did 12 hours last week, which for me is massive.
My legs were feeling a bit heavy, but we only really had half a test to go before lighting all of our matches in the sprint.
Just gotta remember to cue in this sprint. Don't put my weight too far forward. I have a tendency, when I get out of the saddle, I put my weight way too far forward and I lose a lot of drive as a result. But it's one thing to say it now, it's another to execute it at 180 beats per minute when I'm desperately trying to hang on to the group in front of me.
This is probably the 5th time I've said it, but I usually find a way to mess up a sprint, whether that's from shooting my weight way too far forward or picking a too high or too low gear. Where there's a will, there is a way to mess it up, at least for me.
The next one is the big one. Survive that and we survive to the end, probably. I don't know, like I said, if this was Cat C, I would be hitting that full. So I probably should. Can't react. You gotta be proactive in these things. Race your race, don't race someone else's.
Obviously, that's within reason, and sometimes you do have to react to attacks, but when it comes to potential selection points, you want to plan to make that selection and not wait to respond, especially when it's a short, sharp punch. As always, I got ready to ramp it up into the climb. People were going harder than lap 1, but this was nothing too challenging, and I was able to stay seated and keep myself towards the sharp end pretty easily. We had a guy off the front, but that wasn't anything to be concerned about. The group behind was strung out, but it was inevitable that it would come back together. I'd made it over and only had to burn about half a match in the process. It was time to recover for the real challenge.
Oh, I stung the legs. 4 kilometers to recover.
I had been expecting this race to be ridden faster than this, and I have to say I'm a bit disappointed by my first time out in Cat B. But the route makes the race, and with nothing to really test people, I guess in reflection, it was bound to be fairly easy. Next week, on the other hand, will be a test.
It's only 214 watts, but my legs are so heavy. I guess from the 100 kilometers on Saturday. Should have rested yesterday, I'm stupid. I get 100 kilometers, probably nothing to you guys, but to me, it's the longest bike I've ever ridden.
We love a little negative self-talk at Dead Last Cycling, but you all know I'm always going to full send a sprint anyway.
I gotta try to cue. Weight up, not forward.
Saying that is one thing, doing it when every thought but pedal has left my brain is another.
1K to go. Gotta watch for people going long in the arcade. Don't want to slip too far back.
If you're going to race Sprinters Playground, you have to push to stay in the top end of the field through the arcade. Don't take the wind, but top 10, top 15 wheels, and you steering if you've got it, it makes a big difference. For me, I managed to keep myself right where I wanted to be through the curves, and as we exited back outside, it was sprinting time.
Oh man, I came 4th. So close. Wow. Oh, the moon with that, guys. Maybe I undergeared it a little even. Oh man. I did not think I had that in me. The turbo trainer retention system working well, obviously. I've shifted to the right, but whoa, Cat B. Survived, more than survived.
I definitely undergeared that and looked fairly insane sprinting as a result. I'd meant to shift up twice as I got out of the saddle, but only one shift registered, and I think maybe if I had gone up 1 or 2 more gears, I might have had a shot at winning, or at least coming second, but coming 4th is something I'm more than happy with for the first time out in Cat B.
Thanks guys for watching as always. If you could like, comment or subscribe, I'd appreciate it. I'll see you guys next week.